Hey, you! Yes, you! Tell me, do you hate the planet? Do you like dumping trash, oil, and/or toxic waste anywhere regardless of health or safety codes? Have you ever wanted to create abominations like this ugly fellow? Well, then a job at Toxinol is perfect for you. Apply today for a terrible tomorrow. Hey guys, Matt here, and today we're going to be talking about Biomutant, a game that I rarely hear anyone talk about. I'll be talking a bit about things leading up to release as well as my thoughts and opinions on the game. So, grab your swords, put on that eye patch, and let's get into this. Biomutant is an action RPG published by THQ Nordic and developed by Experiment 101, a studio that was established in 2015 and co-founded by Goodbye Kansas Game Invest, as well as Stefan
Youngquist,
a former employee of Avalanche Studios and best known for their work on the Just Cause series. Stefan wanted to go back to the basics of video game development and create a game that is fun, but in a good way. Biomutant began development quickly after the studio was founded, and later in 2017, they shared Biomutant with the world, showing off a trailer on the IGN YouTube channel, which produced an insane amount of hype for the game. So much so that at Gamescom 2017, Experiment 101's stand was completely packed with eager fans wanting to try the game out. It still blows my mind that a small team with a new IP was able to garner this much excitement for their game. And at Gamescom, they even announced a release year, 2018, for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Now, I'm gonna be honest, back then, I didn't really think this game would release in 2018, and it's really just because I never trust a release year, only a full release date. And sure enough, 2018 came and went with no release. However, we did receive news that THQ Nordic acquired Experiment 101, and later THQ announced the game would be releasing in the summer of 2019. But unfortunately, my second semester of college wasn't the only thing to disappoint me in 2019, since the game was once again delayed. At this point, things started to get pretty quiet. And in 2020, news of the game seemed to be reduced down to an appearance at Summer Games Fest and a tweet about languages, I guess. However, that would quickly change on January 26, 2021, when the Biomutant Twitter account announced that the game would be releasing May 25th of that year. In the weeks leading up to release, marketing for the game went into full swing. PewDiePie was paid to stream the game. I remember constantly seeing ads on websites for the game, and hell, I even vaguely recall Conan O'Brien playing the game on his show. And the best part? The game actually released when they said it would for PC, PS4, and Xbox One. Not only that, but by August of that year, the game had sold 1 million copies. However, I didn't even get the game by August, or even in 2022. I saw the mixed reviews, looked at my wallet, then thought about all the other games releasing that year, and decided to pass on Biomutant. That is until recently when I noticed that they released the game for current gen consoles. So what do I think of the game? Well, without any further delay, let's dive into the world of Biomutant. After finishing Biomutant, I can safely say that this game's really hard to review. On one hand, there's just a lot of straight up dumb fun to be had in the open world. Not to mention the fact that the premise is incredibly interesting. On the other hand, it doesn't really have much replay value due to the repetitive nature of the quests, and I can't help but think of all the wasted potential in this game. But hey, I'm in a jolly mood today, so let's talk about the things I actually enjoyed about the game. Starting with the character customization. The character creation sliders are fun to mess with and provide a good amount of variety in how you can make your Lil Abomination look. Sure, it might not be as robust as other RPGs, but I really like how everything you pick, aside from your fur color, affects your character's stats and vice versa. Want a character with a lot of strength? Then you'll have a small head but a jacked body. Want one with a lot of intellect? Then you'll need a massive head to store that big giga brain of yours. There's also 5 different classes to choose from, each giving you a different set of starting weapons, a slightly different chance to land critical hits for increased damage, and perks. However, it is worth mentioning that you can use any weapon or PSI ability regardless of your class, which means nothing you find on your journey is class locked or class specific. So basically, what I'm saying is you can go absolutely crazy with different armor combinations as well as different sets of weapons. Another fun and silly thing that I quite enjoyed in the game was the crafting. I love all the goofy and unique weapons you can craft from the garbage found scattered across the world. Mixing and matching different components to create something truly cool or just flat out ridiculous. Like, look at this. Look at this. I made this. I don't know why. I mean, it's shit, but I love it. Combat is pretty simple, but fun and flashy. You beat up enemies with cool weapons and guns. PSI and biogenetics add a decent amount of variety by giving you cool abilities like being able to create a wall of fire by just dashing, or summon purple wisps to do radiation damage. You're also able to unlock combos for both your melee weapon as well as your ranged weapon. And you can unlock even more combos as you progress further through the game. Listen, is the combat super innovative and polished? Fucking no! But it is something I enjoyed regardless. Side note, I really like the comic book style words that appear on screen when you're using guns or just doing cool combos. Another thing I absolutely loved was the visuals. All the unique environments look absolutely gorgeous, and the overall style is very vibrant and colorful. NPCs as well as monster designs are fantastic and varied. Well, aside from your parents in the game who are literally just clones of your character model. I know it's a small thing, but I would have liked it if the devs would have just tweaked them a bit so they looked similar but not exactly the same. It's not a necessary thing, but it's something I would have appreciated. And that's unfortunately where most of my praise for the game ends. So, let's get into the negatives. Right off the bat, I can tell you that the story was probably the weakest aspect of the game. Now, don't get me wrong, you can tell that a lot of hard work was poured into this aspect of the game, and I can safely say Biomutant had a really strong opening, with how the devs had us explore an abandoned bunker which contained remnants of humanity that explains how the world wound up in its current state, as well as where all the humans went. Not to mention how they showcased the first World Eater and seeing the first tribe. It all felt cool and exciting, but everything quickly started to just feel pretty dull and boring. For starters, the flashback portions are mind-numbingly boring and riddled with dialogue. They just feel like interruptions to the parts of the game I actually want to play. I knew I was gonna hate these the second I was being taught how to swim. Bruh. Then there's the Tribe Wars, which are hands down the most repetitive aspect of this game. You need to claim 3 outposts for your tribe in order to take on a tribe leader at the main stronghold. Each outpost takes about 5 to 8 minutes to complete, either by charging in and killing everyone you see, sabotaging, which involves either messing with their water supply, artillery, or a conveniently placed moth nest. Then there's fighting an outpost leader, which you can approach in a more peaceful manner, but I didn't have the charisma for that, so murder it is. But Matt, what about the tribe leader? Well, once you have taken out the 3 outposts, you meet up with your tribe leader along with his army outside of the enemy's main stronghold. Your leader tells you to go fetch an item, you come back with said item and use it to breach the stronghold. Once in the stronghold, you pretty much just do the same thing as the first outpost. You beat up a few enemies, maybe solve a simple puzzle or two, and that's it. What I find incredibly hilarious about this is you have this army and your leader, but you do all the work on your own. Well, that's not entirely true. They do help out during the actual leader fight, but it's really annoying when you have a game build up this epic battle in your head only for it to be the same as all the other shit. And the cherry on top of this awful cake is all the outposts leading up to the enemy leader have the exact same layout, and you watch the exact same cutscenes regardless of which leader is your current enemy. If this doesn't already sound repetitive as shit, then wait till I tell you how many leaders there are. Not one, not 3, but 5 enemy tribe leaders, meaning you have to claim 15 outposts and 5 leader strongholds, which is absurd. I think if they scaled it down to even just 3 enemy tribes, this would have been a way more enjoyable experience. At least then you'd get to experience each sabotage scenario one time. Plus, maybe that would have given them a bit more wiggle room to make the outposts look just a tiny bit more unique. I don't know. And finally, we have the Tree of Life portion of the story. If I'm being completely honest, I actually thought this part was quite enjoyable. Besides the hoof puff fight, which just felt like I was fighting a bullet sponge, gathering parts to build a new mode of transportation was really fun since I got to explore more zones in the process. Plus, I really liked the mech because when you call for it, the mech falls down like Titanfall.
Stand by for Titanfall.
Also, it's just fun to beat shit up in a mech. And the boss fights were great besides the aforementioned hoof puff fight. They all provided unique ways of taking them out. Plus, it was really cool to see all their unique movesets. Like, one of them just swallows you whole and you have to climb out of their stomach acid to destroy a vital organ. It's pretty interesting stuff. But there's one problem with this portion of the story, and it plays into the tribe system. For those of you who don't know, because I never explained it, at the beginning of the game, you choose between 2 tribes. The Jagni tribe wants to be feared by other tribes and allow the World Eaters to kill the World Tree, while the Myriad tribe wants to unite the tribes and defeat the World Eaters. I chose the Myriad, or the Light Path. After my playthrough, I got curious. So I looked up what happens when you pick the Jagni. And guess what? You still fight the World Eaters, but instead of staying dead, they just get up and continue munching on the tree. What? Okay, from a gameplay perspective, I get it. You don't want the player to miss out on the boss fights. But narratively, it makes no sense. Like, bro, I literally went inside one of these things and destroyed a vital organ. How do you have a pulse? This honestly feels like wasted potential for 2 completely different scenarios to be in the game. But instead, they have the same combat scenario, making the choice at the beginning feel meaningless for this portion of the story. It's just kind of silly, man. Let's move on. And the last major complaint I have is the narrator and the dialogue. I really didn't like the narrator. He was intriguing during the opening, but very quickly overstayed his welcome. He felt out of place and created this massive disconnect for me since he speaks for every character by relaying what they say to you in third person. Furthermore, every character felt robbed of their personality since you have the same voice conveying the same emotions even when the body movements are trying to convey something different.
He says you made them weaker, but they won't give up. Your Sifu thanks you. Your tribe is growing stronger.
Thankfully, you can just turn him off in the settings. However, even without the narrator explaining everything, most of the conversations still felt off, since most NPCs say the same thing but worded differently. A vast majority of the conversations you'll have in this game will revolve around the past, the future, and morals. That's practically it. And at a certain point, it just gets exhausting, man. In short, Biomutant is a game with gorgeous visuals, fun combat, and an interesting world. But all that is dragged down by the lackluster story and repetitive quests that feel dragged out to increase playtime. It has the foundation of a good game, but that's about it. I don't regret my time with Biomutant. It was definitely interesting getting to play something that I was hyped for back in high school. But I can't see myself revisiting the world again, and I definitely don't see myself recommending it to someone anytime other than when it's on sale. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. I know I said that Halo 4 was going to be the next video, but I had the props and I really wanted to do this. So, Halo 4 next video? Probably. And if you want to be updated on when that video comes out, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and hell, leave a comment down below. Did you play Biomutant? Did you think it was good or did you think it missed the mark? I've been rezoraptor and I will see you guys next time. Peace.